Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Schweickart Prize Ambassador webinar. Rusty will go ahead and do the introductions a bit later, but I'm Delphine. I've been the program manager for the Schweickart Prize for this past year. And so I just want to go ahead and just thank all of you for taking the time to join us today. I know that we've got a mix of returning ambassadors from last year, along with a couple of new faces, so it's very exciting to see. With that, I will go ahead and pass it over to Rusty.
All right. Well, hello everyone. I wanted to summarize who's involved in the Schweickart Prize. That's myself and my twin brother Randy. We are the program chairs, and then also, of course, Rusty Schweickart, the former astronaut and co-founder of B612 and Asteroid Day. And of course, we could not do without Delphine, who is our program manager and also does operations for the B612 Foundation. So the next slide. So what is the Schweickart Prize? It's in commemoration of the illustrious career and public leadership of Rusty Schweickart. The Schweickart Prize was created to inspire emerging talent and foster innovation in the field of planetary defense. So what are the prizes? The award includes a $10,000 unrestricted cash award, a museum quality award with authentic media right, membership, mentorship and networking opportunities with leaders in the field, and public recognition through digital press campaign. So it's the probably the greatest thing I think is the mentorship, the working with all the leaders in the field in planetary defense. So next, okay, so these are the winners of the 2025 team. Um, so Jordan Stone was the primary person who worked with the group of Jim Bueller, Yusuf Saleh, and Kosa K. And what Jordan has told us is he has been very grateful for the new connections and opportunities that were created by winning the Schweickart Prize. He's actively engaging with international experts through talk conferences and collaborative research. And he's continuing to advance and share the PAOA, which is their PAO proposal, which is their proposal in academic and professional settings. And this is also shows Jordan accepting the prize from our pop. So next. So what are the functions of the ambassador? The ambassador really provides two critical functions, and that's getting the Schweickart Prize information out to prospective graduate students, as well as identifying and contacting students or programs in the planetary defense related fields who might apply, and then again advising applicants to ensure they are getting questions answered about the process and about application materials. Those are the two main functions. So now I'll turn it over to Randy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate seeing the faces, attached faces to names from people we've heard from through the process, and new faces as well. So thank you so much for joining. So there are three basic phases to the Schweickart Prize application process. Phase one consists of a simple pre-application form that the applicant completes to provide the team with basic identification information. The form is fairly simplified to try to encourage students to rapidly complete this step. This is not a very difficult step. It's just to identify folks who might be applying. Students can apply as an individual or as a group. And we just ask in the case of a group application that all members are identified and that a single team lead is designated as the primary contact. We also request that a mentor is identified for the applicant or group to ensure they have a knowledgeable guide expert to assist them in the proposal development process. Now, This mentor could be you if you've encouraged the team to apply, and that's perfectly fine. Or, for example, it can be someone in their advisor for their PhD program, but clearly someone who can vouch for them in some sense and provide advice as they move through the process. Phase 2 is submission of the full application package. We basically request that the applicants provide 2 separate letters of recommendation. One would typically be provided by an advisor or mentor, focusing on the career aspirations and leadership potential of the applicant. And we've had some debate about when teams apply, we certainly want to have someone speaking for the leader of the team, the representative of the team. We may or may not have additional information about the other applicants on the team. The second reference would be associated with someone who is knowledgeable in the field and or the topic that the team is, the individual or the team is proposing on. And this is to ensure that we have some encouragement, if you will, and or knowledge being provided to the team from someone knowledgeable in the field. The core of the prize application is a 500-word proposal describing a solution to one of the key challenges in planetary defense. Proposals may include figures and tables. Captions, references, and links do not apply to the word count. Since it is a pretty minimal word count, we want to make sure people realize that they have some leeway here and from that perspective. The selection committee is especially interested in the potential for the proposal, project, or idea to materially advance capabilities in planetary defense. The successful applicant will also be selected for their potential for leadership, academic merit, and commitment to furthering their proposal. In support of these aspects, applicants are asked to provide a 250-word career aspiration statement and a copy of their academic records. And we'll see a little bit further about this in terms of the teams, but certainly this would be provided for the team lead. And I think what we're asking for is a CV from everyone that is on the team. Okay, next slide. So phase 3 of the selection process is only applicable to a set of finalists chosen from the full set of applicants. This phase consists of a set of video conference interviews by the selection committee with each finalist or finalist team. Finalists answer questions from the selection committee about their project and respond to critiques and suggestions for strengthening their proposal. Finalists are then requested to submit a final version of their application, incorporating elements of the interview discussion. The final version is allowed to be up to twice the length, that is 1,000 words, of the original proposal. Student applicants often want to know what makes a winning proposal, so we provided some insight from the selection committee that we noted during the 2024 and 2025 selection processes. So many applicants simply proposed work that they were pursuing for their dissertation. While such work can be quite applicable to planetary defense, it is oftentimes academic in nature and more aimed at addressing a gap in knowledge versus a needed capability to deal with a potential asteroid impact. For example, Joe understood this distinction, and because of that, chose an idea that he felt would be more applicable for the prize. So, an innovative approach to improving our ability to find asteroids, rather than his dissertation topic, which was characterization of the asteroid Apophis. And the second item is the broad applicability of the idea. There are so many amazing advances in space technologies these days, and proposing novel ways to use and combine these advancements to improve planetary defense is an effective approach to proposal idea generation. So we encourage students to take advantage of all that is going on, current activities and advancements that are going on, and leverage them in your ideas that you propose. Our last year's winner, Jordan's team, came up with a key policy advancement that represented a missing piece in the international planetary defense arena. One of our honorable mentions from last year came up with a LLM tool for improving communication about potential impacts. So we have encouraged applicants to think broadly about planetary defense capability needs and gaps. Now, I will say this may be a little bit different this year. More on that in a couple slides, but that is what we have encouraged in the past. So next slide. Okay, what's different from last year? In terms of the logistics, there really isn't that much different from last year. We have changed the calendar a little bit, tried to move things a little bit earlier in the year to help with the selection process. But in general, the logistics have remained pretty much the same. However, there is one item that will potentially be changing, and that is whether we're going to continue to have a broad set of topics, or we're going to have a focus up what I call the focus on a specific field or topic. So we would have preferred to have made a decision on this before this meeting, but we won't have a decision until we have consulted with our nomination committee. Our first meeting with this committee is scheduled in early October. So we'll just have to let you know that we'll be providing you further guidance to pass on to students when we have made a decision. The basic idea is that it's very difficult to compare a very good proposal on communication versus a very good proposal on detection versus a very good proposal on policy. And that is what we were left with last year. It was very challenging. And so one of the proposals that has been made by a number of folks is that we, in fact, rotate through the years, rotate through specific topics, and therefore have an apples-to-apples comparison of the various proposals to simplify the decision. Obviously, the drawback to that is that we will receive fewer proposals if we limit what the proposals will be about. So we are going to have this discussion with our nomination committee. We will come up with a decision, and we will get that information out to you as soon as possible. I realize that's pretty challenging for you because you're going to direct the information about the Schweickart Prize to those students who it's applicable to, and if it's a focused approach, then there'll be fewer folks that you would be potentially sending this to. So again, we apologize for not having made this decision already, but we'll get the information to you as soon as possible. And then a couple of quick additional guidelines just to make sure. Bob talked about this in the beginning. We do want undergraduate students to apply. We welcome them to apply, but only if they are part of a team, and we don't want them to be any undergraduate to be the lead, the spokesperson for the team. We'd like that to be either a graduate student or a recently graduated graduate student. And then, as I said before, every team member, we would love to see their CV in the pre-application process. Next slide. So here is our key dates for the process. We're holding separate student webinars, 2 in October, 2 in January, with applicants who have either submitted the pre-application form or asked to receive the newsletter. These are key events in that they are the best opportunity for prospective applicants to get their questions answered and to directly interact with the Schweickart Prize Selection Committee members. The application deadline is on February 4th. We need to strictly adhere to this date as it allows us to proceed to selection of the prize finalists. We have a fairly extensive proposal assessment process, including a review by a committee of planetary defense experts. This is our nomination committee. Late entries may not be included in this full proposal assessment process and will therefore be less likely to be chosen for further consideration. We anticipate that the finalist interviews will be conducted the week of April 1st, and the final proposal submissions were received on or before April 17th. Finalists will be notified about the award decision on April 30th, which will allow enough time for the Schweickart team to prepare for the public announcement of the prize on Asteroid Day, June 30th, 2026. The official award ceremony will be held at Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, as it was in this past year. Next slide. So we have a number of student resources to direct the students towards, and it's important to recognize that all of these will be accessible through our website, schweickart.prize.org. The core resource, of course, is the Schweickart Prize website, which has links to all the resources, as well as lots of background and prize-associated information. We also have outreach materials, including a flyer, which you all should have received with the first invitation from Delphine to distribute to academic departments and students and possibly incorporate into newsletters and/or department web pages. Students will also be able to read and learn from the 2024 and 2025 winning proposals. We have links to those. These are meant to serve as an inspiration for students to see how both technical and non-technical innovative ideas can be applied to planetary defense. Feel free to share any material you think would help spread the word about the Schweickart Prize. And lastly, encourage students to sign up for the newsletter. You can do that also through the website. Now I'll turn it over to Delphine to talk further about student outreach resources.
Thanks, Randy. So as you mentioned, these resources for students are really important. And just like we did last year, conferences and newsletters have been super helpful towards spreading the word about the Schweickart Prize. And we've already sent out a couple of announcements for the prize application opening to a few newsletters. As not every conference is really set up for to share the Schweickart Prize information directly, the goal was really just to get the word out and hopefully get more students who would be interested in participating. So if you happen to have any connections to these conferences or know someone who does, it would be super helpful if you could just send over the Schweickart flyer, Schweickart Prize flyer, or even just let us know about it and we can start the outreach. And so before we move over to the Q&A portion, I like to say just, you might know some students that are good, strong candidates for the Schweickart Prize, but you also might know someone who might fit greatly as a Schweickart Prize ambassador. And so we would love to hear if you have any recommendations or to put us in contact with someone who would like to become an ambassador. As we expand our network of ambassadors, we can expand our outreach globally and reach students with a wide range of backgrounds, which really gives strength to the prize and gives these students the opportunities to advance innovative ideas towards planetary defense. And so with that, let's open it up for questions. You are more than welcome to turn your video on and unmute yourself, or you can also just submit any questions that you have in the chat. I noticed that Rusty joined a little bit late. So with that, I will pass it over to an open discussion.
Right, yeah, as before, presumably the ambassadors can participate in the student Q&A as in previous years.
Yeah, so we will be sharing the invitation with you and you're more than welcome to join and recommend any students if they want to join with that. And like all of these webinars will be recorded and then we generally post them on our YouTube page. So we'll definitely have those open access for that.
Delphine, are those also on the Schweickart Prize website? The webinar?
Yes, we do create blog posts for those as well. And so if you follow us on social media or anything like that, we'll be sharing links to those. Oop. All right, I think, I don't know, Simon, you still have your hand raised?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so I'm new to this, so I don't know exactly how it works, but is the intention that the project that the students propose is something that has to be done within the scale of the prize money, or is that just a facilitator, if you like? So is it on the scale of the sort of $10K project?
Simon, that's a great question, and thank you for asking. The expectation actually is that we're looking for something broad and fantastic and capable of making a big difference, and the prize money doesn't have anything to do with that. In fact, we don't have
was the thing.
Yeah, we don't have any even any kind of follow up to confirm that you've pursued this necessarily, right? We're interested in the idea that you have, not necessarily that you are going to execute it. And it's a key one because the students, especially if it's something they're doing for their PhD or whatever, they're thinking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it's fantastic
Yeah.
if they do pursue it and take it on. But it's important to communicate to them that really the idea we want is just a good idea, a gap, capability, something that's innovative that really can make a difference if it were implemented. But it doesn't mean that they have to implement it themselves, or that they even
Excellent.
pursue it
Yeah.
with the money that's involved. So thank you
Okay,
for
so they
asking the
can really
question.
think big and
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
they're not
I
constrained by what they specifically can do. That's good. I now I get it. Yeah, thanks.
I think I would just add, Danica Remy here, for those of you who joined late. Um, I would just add that, the two prize winners that we have had are advancing the idea. They're using it as a way to expand their network. But to, Randy's point, the idea is to give birth to a great idea. But we've been lucky so far that both of our Schweickart Prize winners are continuing to advance through their professional work, and their professional, attendance at events. Are trying to advance the idea that they did develop. We as an organization, we'll be able to promote it once and talk a little bit about it, but we, as the Schweickart Prize, which is a program of B612, we will not continue to advance it other than promoting it, do the first press announcement, help that student be introduced to people who can help that group or that individual advance their idea. So, we're a small organization. And these are very big ideas. And to Rusty, to Rusty's legacy, he likes big ideas. And so our students have come up with big ideas, and we hope that they will happen, but it's a kind of a one-time introduction to the world. Here it comes, and then we're going to open up our network.
Great. Orly, did you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yes, so it's more of a remark. I picked up on the fact that you had trouble to evaluate the policy aspects of the proposal last year. So I was just wondering, can I help? So if you need any evaluators help, I'm happy to help with governance policy aspects. And also, as a follow-up to the previous remark, I can give the example. So I'm currently doing research on the governance, the future governance for human space exploration and deeper space. And the Templeton Foundation is funding us. And so we are using the money also to invite experts to our facility, to organize workshops, to attend conferences. So the winner can really have a diversity of use of the money, and if they want, they can mention the Schweickart Prize maybe, but there are things to do with the bigger ideas than experts or interviews. Everything needs some funding. So I think that's also a way when we promote the event, we can promote the prize by saying, here are some examples of what you can also do with that funding. Voilà, this just, feedback. No particular question. That's it.
Thanks,
No,
Orly.
that's great. Naomi, why don't you go ahead since you've got your hands raised?
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I was wondering, are there any countries or regions that you would like to find more ambassadors in that aren't covered right now that we can help with?
Go for it, Randy.
All of them.
All of them. Okay, so there's no particular. Okay.
Between from the first year to the second year, last year we saw a fantastic increase in. We doubled the number of proposals that we got, and then we saw proposals from all over the world. But yeah, again, when I say all over the world, not that many places. We would love, for example, to start to develop more Asian connections. So China's doing amazing work right now. Japan is doing some amazing work right now. We would love to see those areas, try to find ambassadors in those areas to encourage students to apply. We've got Chilean applicants from last year, from Europe, obviously from the US. So we did increase our geographic footprint, but we'd love to see it increase even further. So if you have connections and so forth in other areas, we would love to see that happen. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And I'd like to
add
emphasize.
that oh, go ahead, Rusty.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd really like to emphasize the China possibility. I mean, they have recently come up with a very serious deflection validation plan, and one which has a number of elements which, frankly, have not been in the Western plans to date. So that would be really great if we can begin to enter and develop some ambassadors in China.
And I was just going to add that last year was really nice because we also saw a expansion in the gender, the range of male, female participation who put forward proposals. So that was also gratifying for us to see.
Yeah, and I'll make one last note. Interesting about the teams is that most of them were composed of students from various universities around the world. So, for example, with Jordan's team, you had they were a little bit from all over Europe. We also had there was a team of they were led by a graduate student, but undergraduates that were spread out over some universities in Mexico. So the teams are also very distribute, like they're from all over the place. So go ahead, Orly.
They don't have to be from the same institution, right? They don't have to
No,
be
they
in the same
don't. So yeah,
university.
we do
That's
emphasize that
important.
collaboration across universities and just even organizations and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's important to emphasize that the students these days are networking more than ever. They have connections with different organizations that they belong to. They leverage those in the teams that we had this past year, and we'd love to see that advance in the future.
Just a small
Bob
update.
Morris had a
So
question
then Khalid and I are going to be quite a lot in China and particularly in Hong Kong. So I took note of the need for promoting in Asia and especially China. So
Great.
yeah, I will try to help there.
Thank you, Orly.
I think Bob Morris had a question.
Well, it was mainly been answered. It was about what countries would ideally you want more ambassadors from. But while on that, do you have many ambassadors from Australia and New Zealand and South Africa, for instance? Well,
Yeah, we don't have any ambassadors, but we did receive, I believe it was one application in this past cycle that was from Australia. So we're getting there somehow.
Right, but I have some contacts there. I'll contact a few people. Australia seems quite obvious as it's in a unique position to some extent, which is why some of the telescopes and things are sited there, obviously. So,
yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Again, if you have any recommendations on potential ambassadors or conferences, as Aurelie mentioned, that you'll be either participating or that you think would be valuable to spread the word on the Schweickart Prize, just send that over to us and we will do our outreach.
I want to thank you so much for joining and for those newbies being part of the team to help us find some excellent candidates for the Schweickart Prize. Really appreciate you being here.
Yeah. And I would just like to add all of you, if you're on social media, if you could post the flyer, post a link to the Schweickart Prize, from whatever your perspective is about why it's important. That's also a great way to get word out about the prize that may, land with another advisor or somebody worldwide. So please, if you can, use your personal networks on LinkedIn or Facebook or, any science forums that you're on. That would be appreciated very much. We really need to be distributing the word about the prize.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, and we'll see you online.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.